These are the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and discipline, for comprehending words of insight, and for receiving instruction in wise living, and in righteousness, justice, and equity, to impart prudence to the simple, and knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and gain instruction, and the discerning acquire wise counsel by understanding the proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake the teaching of your mother, for they are a garland of grace on your head and a pendant around your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not yield to them. If they say, come along, let us lie in wait for blood, let us ambush the innocent without cause, let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and whole like those descending into the pit. We will find all manner of precious goods. We will fill our houses with plunder, throwing your lot with us. Let us all share one purse. My son, do not walk the road with them, or set foot upon their path, for their feet run to evil, and they are swift to shed blood. How futile it is to spread the net where any bird can see it, but they lie in wait for their own blood. They ambush their own lives. Such is the fate of all who are greedy, whose unjust gain takes the lives of its possessors. Wisdom calls out in the street, she lifts her voice in the square. In the main concourse she cries aloud, at the city gate she makes her speech. How long, oh simple ones, will you love your simple ways? How long will scoffers delight in their scorn, and fools hate knowledge? If you had repented at my rebuke, then surely I would have poured out my spirit on you. I would have made my words known to you, because you refused my call, and no one took my outstretched hand, because you neglected all my counsel and wanted none of my correction in turn. I will mock your calamity, I will sneer when terror strikes you, when your dread comes like a storm, and your destruction like a whirlwind. When distress and anguish overwhelm you, then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will earnestly seek me, but will not find me, for they hated knowledge and chose not to fear the Lord. They accepted none of my counsel, they despised all my reproof, so they will eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the waywardness of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will dwell in safety, secure from the fear of evil.
Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail? You saw the title? Jason, there was no thumbnail. There was no title. That's right. There wasn't, because this is an impromptu live stream. I was talking to President Firstborn today, and I ran across a video that kind of brought all this together. There's a lot of moving pieces that made this video come together. So ride along with me, people. We're going to get somewhere, I promise you. So yesterday I was approached by a company that wanted to do a sponsorship of my show. And I've turned down a few of them. I don't get a lot of them, but I did turn down most of them. And this company actually provides a platform that teaches you various and sundry things that you don't already know. So if maybe you're trying to learn how to crochet or you want to learn how to do calligraphy or something like that. And I thought about it. I said, this one might not be bad. And so I told them we could talk this week. And that was just yesterday, just out of the blue. They reached out to me and I said, you know what, maybe I'll talk to y'all. Maybe I'll talk to you. Maybe that's something that the group might find beneficial. And so that was that. It's kind of just put it out there, put a pin in it. I spoke to a commenter of the channel, and they had expressed to me that they found a lot of value in the show, lots of value. And they had asked me to speak on a particular topic that I had not addressed at all. Any way, shape, or form, I haven't addressed it at all. I don't even think I've even mentioned it in passing. And because I felt like I didn't know a lot about it, and I'm tired of putting my foot in my mouth, and I don't really know a lot about it. So I don't have the understanding to be able to properly address it. So that's why I turned it down. But I said, you know what? I'm going to look into it. I'm going to do a little bit of research, and I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more understanding so that maybe I can talk about it, or at least show you all and point to you all my opinion on it and point you all in some better places to get some information about it. So put that one over on the shelf as well. And then I'm out here minding my own business, doing my meal prep for the week, cooking my meal prep for the week. If you follow me on my other channel, I'm working on getting slim and trim. So meal prep is a big part of it. And I ran across a video about Generation Z. Is it Generation? Yeah, Generation Z. I don't know the generations. I admit I'm horrible with the generations, but youngsters, right? And how they don't know how to use computers. And immediately that grabbed my attention. I'm like, how do you not know how to use computers? Like, y'all stay on computers. What are you talking about? But they don't. And I watched the video and I said, oh, maybe that's why. Maybe all of this, bringing everything back together full circle. Maybe that's why that company reached out to me yesterday about sponsoring the channel, because they teach you, one of their classes that they do is teach you how to use computers. And maybe that's why the commenter reached out to me. She was really expressing the value that she gains from the channel. And I was like, I really don't know enough to properly speak on a particular topic. Maybe that's why all of that came full circle for me to run across this video today. And we're going to watch it together because it is outstanding. So I really want you, if you are a parent, a grandparent, aunt or uncle that's involved in the life of their youngins' life. When youngins, we're talking about those, junior in high school, all the way up to maybe like 26-ish, 27-ish, that group of young adults. If you're a mentor, if you're, of course, a teacher, okay, anybody like that, I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation because we're looking at, why does Generation Z not know how to use computers? I never thought that they didn't know how to use computers. I really did think that they always could. And I will admit, President Firstborn and Chief Executive Second are really good at computers, not just the tablet, not just the phone, but or Chromebook even. They actually know how to use a bona fide computers. But and the thing is primarily because of their education. Their elementary and middle schools were in a private school that taught that. And we'll talk about this as well. This is super interesting. So I really appreciate y'all jumping in. This was impromptu. I just said I wanted to talk about this while I had time, while everybody was out. And I just want to jump in real quick. So I will definitely bring this up for you in a moment. But shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Thank you to everybody who's popped up in here. I really do appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for jumping in, hitting the like button, all that kind of good stuff. Say what's up to your people, all that kind of good jazz. And we are going to get at it. Y'all know that I really like and I find a lot of value in the content creator, Social Simone. Shout out to her. She did a video today. Was it today? I think she dropped it today. Let me double check. She dropped it today. I didn't even hit the like button. Let me do that. On Generation Z doesn't know how to, 3 hours ago, Generation Z doesn't know how to use computers. I said, that's some crazy work. Like, sure, they know how to use computers, but they actually don't. I never thought about this. So this is a super, again, if you're a parent, aunt, uncle, teacher, whatever like that, I really hope that you this will help you out. And especially if your kids do know how to use computers. Like my kids do know how to type. They can type. The old school typing, right? They know how to do that, not just the thumb typing that we do nowadays, but they actually know how to keyboard. They do know how to, I don't think they know exactly how to open up a spreadsheet. I mean, create a spreadsheet outside of Chrome, but it's not the worst thing. I don't think that I haven't asked them specifically on that, but it's very interesting. So let's bring this in. I think you'll have fun with it. What's Kimberly say right here? My kids use computers. My son's more than my daughter, but he's a baker, but she's a baker barista. See, there we go. And one of the things that President Firstborn told me is that a lot of her friends, because they're in finance, they do know how to use computers because that's what they need in that space. This is going to be really interesting. I think you're going to find this very interesting. 8648. I think you're going to find this is, I was impressed by it. I was taken aback. I made a video out of it. So let's get at it, if you don't mind. Green hearts in the chat where you can hear. Let's go. Let me turn that volume up. Green hearts in the chat where you can hear.
Can I ask just quickly, why don't the younger generation know how to use technology? We just interviewed a bunch of people for a junior estimator role that we've got going. So these are people between the ages of 18 and 21. And when we asked any of them, have they used Excel before? They all said no. And we said, what about Microsoft Word? They said, no, haven't used it before. We said, well, what about typing? Can you touch type? No, I can't touch type. And I thought that as generations got younger and younger, they got better and better with technology. But is it the younger generation now, they just spend a lot of times on their phones, but they don't actually know how to use computers at all? It's honestly been mind-boggling to me because I know even my generation, right? A lot of people in my generation can touch type. We've used Excel, we've used Word, we've used PowerPoint, we've used all these bits of software that you need to know how to use to operate in the world. So I don't know, maybe we're talking to the wrong people, but can anyone else chime in here? Because that's been my experience so far with the younger generation.
I think this is such an interesting conversation as somebody who was born in 1993, in the age where we were introduced to computers, cell phones. Like that was our generation. However, before that, we are the same generation who was playing outside, riding bikes, drinking from the water hose, actually dancing, stuff like that. Now, it's a different world now. And with all that being said, I actually don't think that this is an intelligence issue with Gen Alpha and or Gen Z. What I think this is a lack of exposure, if you will. I don't think that...
I agree 1000%. It's not that they're not intelligent enough. It is, we have limited their ability. It's very much simple, like saying like kids can't cook on a grill. Like young adults nowadays can't cook on a grill. Why not? Because they're used to being fed out of the kitchen or passed through the window of a car. That's it. Or now I guess the food gets delivered to their doorstep, but they're not used to cooking on a grill. So therein is the problem. It's not, I don't, like I joke with my daughter, any boy that she brings here, I'm going to take him outside and see if he knows how to cook on the grill. Like I'm going to see if he knows how to cook. Because if the power goes out, if the lights go out, if you're trapped in your home and you have no power, no gas, can he at least feed my family, my daughter and my grandchildren from the grill? That's my little standard for him. But I'm not mad if he doesn't know how to. I'm going to teach him. I'm going to teach him. Yeah, my father-in-law taught me how to cook on a grill. Absolutely. And gave me a big green egg as a wedding present. Absolutely. That's me. So, but I don't fault him. So it's not an education problem. It is truly an exposure problem, something that's felt. I don't know what it was, but let's keep it going. Let's keep this down. I think this is super interesting. Let's go.
Gen Alpha and Gen Z had the same environments many of us who are maybe millennials or some of Gen X or maybe even the boomers might be used to. And I wouldn't even say the boomers because a lot of them don't know how to use technology. Let's just be for real. But between the millennials and Gen X, I remember going to school and having to type actual essays, actually having to write essays. And so did a lot of people.
No, I know how to type on a typewriter. Like you don't know about typewriter. You don't know about whiting out stuff. You don't know about that. You don't know my life. And I know how to handwrite. Absolutely. So I'm trilingual. I can type on a computer. I can type on a word processor or typewriter, and I can handwrite, and I can read cursive. Come on, man. I'm here.
Gen X, they had to do a lot of this for work. And then also their children, which would be us, the millennials, were growing up on using these computers in school. They were teaching us how to use Excel. They were teaching us how to use Microsoft Word, Google Docs. We didn't grow up with apps. And that's the thing that
I didn't
I
know
think is
that.
one of the biggest differences. Gen Z and Gen Alpha have grown up in an environment where they were either using a smartphone or a tablet. And the thing about it is, I think they're really good at using these apps.
Let me shout out to Mad Hatter. I agree 100%. If you want to fix society, bring back stick shifts and get rid of and bring back payphones and reading and writing in cursive. You will fix society. I'm being facetious, but not really. You'll fix society. But let me also point out, there's a lot of skills with writing, handwriting, and cursive that this generation doesn't have. There's some real mechanical skills of hand-eye coordination and small nuance manipulation that they don't have because they're used to using just a thumb or pinky finger or pointer finger to type on a keyboard on the screen. So just to bring that up. I can drive a stick. Hey, look, I'm old school, but there's not many stick shifts anymore. Like if they brought back stick shifts and got rid of, I hate to say got rid of electric cars, but minimize electric cars, bring back stick shift, we would see a complete change. We'd see a change because you cannot. Well, I'm not gonna say you cannot. I'm sorry, I'll take that back. The likelihood of you playing on your phone and TikTok video vlogging while you're driving a stick shift is significantly less. Okay, let's go.
They're great at using CapCut, great at using TikTok. Like they know how to navigate those apps. But when you tell them to do something like create a spreadsheet or, hey, type this document in Microsoft Word, they're lost. They're like probably looking for ChatGPT. Like, where's ChatGPT? Meanwhile, the millennials and Gen X and some of the boomers might be a lot more accustomed to doing things like that because of the environment we grew up in. We didn't grow up with apps. But on the opposite side, like there's a lot of nuance to the situation. Gen Z and Gen Alpha didn't grow up using Microsoft Word. They weren't using Excel spreadsheets. This wasn't a common practice for them. So I kind of feel like to an extent, because of the way society changed, they just weren't given the same tools, if that makes sense. A lot of the resources and tools that a lot of the millennials, Gen X, and the boomers use is because there was no other option. And even when we were introduced to a lot of this new technology, we were trying to figure out how to use it. It was being shown also to the kids. It was being implemented in the schools. I don't know if they're in the schools now using Microsoft Word. I don't even know if the kids write papers in schools anymore. Like there are schools that have gone completely digital and they have laptops. They don't even come to school with a notepad in some of these schools. They're just like, oh, my computer is my notepad. This is
and shout out to a lot of schools are walking this back. I will say even the school district that my children go to, the high school that my children go to, they're walking this back. They thought that, the world was a great place with all technology all the time. And they have begun the slow march, the walk of shame to walk that thing back. And they're even this year, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's this year, the vast majority of education will come from books. They're not going to use Chromebooks. You still have your Chromebook, but it's not going to be, you're going to be getting your instruction from the book, which I think is fantastic. I understand like there's a sticky wicket, there's a catch-22 of, being able to update technology and whatnot like that. The cost of it goes down significantly. If you have the digital version of the book, of course, the cost goes down. The cost is going to go up because you're getting these physical books, they're heavier, all that kind of stuff like that. I remember when Big Girl was in school, her book bag was a chore because there were so many books in it. Well, now Chief Executive Second Born, her bag is extremely lighter. Why? Because they were leaning heavily on Chromebooks, but this year they're going to walk that back. So, and I've read other districts as well are making those changes, and I think it's for the better. I don't think that you should do away with it. We should embrace technology. I don't think we should go back to, carpet on tablets, but this is still good. But let's keep it going. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Thank y'all so much, everybody. Let's go.
Different. Also, when I was in school, they were teaching us how to type. Like they were even assess how many words you could type per minute. I'm saying all this to point out the change of how things are done. And y'all tell me down below, do they even test that in school? I don't think they do. I don't don't think they do. With AI and automation and all these other things coming in the same time, when Gen Z and Gen Alpha are trying to get their footing and understand all this technology as well, I don't believe they're going to be learning shortcuts on how to perform a certain function on Microsoft Excel. I just don't think it's going to happen. And what's happening is the jobs are like, hey, we need people who are good at this. And they're like, what is that? What is that? 6'7"? Like, what is that? And
No,
older
not 6'7".
generations like are looking at them like, what do you mean you don't know how to work this stuff? You don't know how to make a Word document? It's a different time, y'all. It really is a different time. But this is a very interesting conversation because it is the older generation, boomers, Gen X, and millennials that are looking to hire the younger generations like Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And these are the actual functions that are still being used in a lot of corporate settings that a lot of these older generations have mastered. And you would just think, yeah, the newer generation is better with technology. They're on it all the time. They are not using it in the same way, in my opinion. A lot of
Real quick.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha that actually
I don't know what's wrong with me today, y'all. That's what I get. This piece right here, what she's about to say, I'm gonna back up just a little smidgen to give her a little running start. And I'm gonna let her big screen it. This is the part where I really think we should, as parents, as teachers, as people in church, we should really look at this aspect, because I keep thinking like these kids are really good at technology, but they're not, because they're not using it for the purpose that it was created. I never thought about that until I watched this video. Hence why we're watching this video, because I'm like, I never thought about that. They're not using it correctly. They're using it. Well, you know what the kids are using it for. It's a digital pacifier, right? But it's not being used as a tool to help them move forward. It's just used to keep them sitting still and get them out of the way. I'm gonna let her tease it out because Simone cooked right here. Shout out to her. Let's go.
generation is better with technology. They're on it all the time. They are not using it in the same way, in my opinion. A lot of Gen Z and Gen Alpha that actually want to work certain jobs, they're just going to have to adapt. And it's really not going to matter that they don't know how to use it, because at the end of the day, they are competing with people who know how to use these things. And that is a skill that a lot of employers are looking for. The truth is, you either kind of get with it or you get lost. Now, if you have an employer that isn't looking for those things, then that's not a problem. But if you are, it would look like Gen Z or Gen Alpha just wouldn't get the job. They just wouldn't get it, because that's what the job might need you to do, and you just don't know how to do it. Also, in your spare time, there are a lot of free courses on YouTube, TikTok, all these social media sites that can walk you through how to use a lot of these resources like Microsoft Office, Google Docs, etc. Whatever you need to use in order to be proficient at your job. The other problem I think that is happening at the same time is perhaps they might not want to do that. They might not want to do that, and the ones who don't will get left behind. Or technology will evolve and maybe they can get with that and be of use to certain jobs that want to hire them because they've learned that new thing, whatever that new thing is, like AI. Lots of jobs looking for anybody who knows how to use it correctly to benefit a business. But if you're only really using the technology for the funsy stuff like TikTok, doom scrolling on social media, and not for all of the information that is at your fingertips, this is what I think ends up happening. The Gen Z and Gen Alpha generation was taught to get on these apps and these iPads as a distraction, not as an actual tool for very useful things. This is the thing that they get on when their parents are trying to get them out their face. That's the thing that computers and tablets are used for. The way that I, in my millennial brain, see a computer, I see it as a smart machine that can be used to do a plethora of things. Some of those things way better than I could do myself. I believe that's how many of us were taught to use a computer. Not just, oh, this is something we watch Netflix on. That is actually how some people see a laptop or a computer. They actually don't see it as a computer. Even here, when we look at the actual Webster dictionary definition of the word computer, it says one that computes, specifically a programmable, usually electronic device that can store, retrieve, and process data. Now, Ask yourself, do you think that's what Gen Z and Gen Alpha are using a computer for, to do these things? Or do you think it's being used as a TV screen, a monitor to see the stuff going on social media? I don't see much computing. That's my point that I'm trying to make. I don't see much computing. You actually have to tell the computer what you want it to do. And in order to do that and use the full functions and range that a computer or a laptop or a MacBook has to offer, you have to understand how to use the most basic of functions. And then you kind of move up from there. But I'm not sure that they're being...
All right. So I really wanted to let her tease that out, because I have to admit, I wasn't making my kids use the computer for all of the right reasons. There's some, yeah, I'm guilty as charged. There's some, watch some Netflix, go to Nickelodeon Kids and be quiet. There was some behavior like that. I think the only saving grace is my kids never really had tablets. They have tablets, but primarily they start out with little mini Chromebooks. And I think because of that, they understood how to use a mouse, they understood how to double tap, things like that. But yeah, I just thought that was super interesting, because that's probably why kids don't know how to use them correctly. It's because they've not been taught how to use them correctly. Any kind of tool. Okay, we could all agree that driving a car is a tool, right? It can get you to work. It can help you make money. You can carry stuff. There's a lot of great things that happen with a car. But if you only use a car to make left turns, all you've been taught is to make left turns with a car. Well, let's make right turns. That's probably easier. Make right turns, right? Just making rights. That's all you've been taught is to make rights, not nothing else useful with a car. Well, you're going to be underdeveloped as it relates to car usage, to say the very least, right? So I think that's what we've done to this generation. We've given them tools like a car, like a computer, but they don't use them to the fullness of it. And in a moment, she's going to talk about, upgrades. And I'm like, yeah, I used to be guilty of that. I haven't upgraded my phone in quite some while, and I'm not looking to upgrade it even now. And all of our laptops are fairly older. So I think we've gotten out of that handle. But check this out. Not left turns. Don't be making no left turns. Make a right. So you just literally going around the block. That's all you've been taught to do, is go around the block, which is crazy. All right, let's go.
Taught the basic functions. Are they? Y'all tell me down below. Who is teaching Gen Alpha and Gen Z the computing functions of a laptop? Everybody want to be MacBook down. They want to have love a good Apple product. They'll rush out and get the latest iPhone. Every year, same 1-2 step. Do they know how to use that computer? Do they know how to use the newest iPhone they just bought? All these new functions that come out every year, or do they just get it to say that they got the new thing? We have to start having serious conversations. And also, on that note, I don't understand people that do that. Why upgrade to the newest device if you haven't understood or tried to even understand the functions and new additions that you currently have on your current smartphone? What would make you want to go up to the next level? Except the fact that it's just new and everybody knows it's new. It doesn't make any sense to me. Even when people do that when it comes to laptops, if you don't know nothing about storage, RAM, gigabytes, display resolution, and you just getting laptops just to get the laptop, what is the point except you just want to spend money? But I digress. I wanted to read some of his comments because this video sparked quite the debate on TikTok. So much so that this video ended up getting 1.8 million views on TikTok. So people definitely have a lot to say about this. And then when I click down here real quick to see what he had in his description, he's saying here, it's not their fault, referring to the bunch of 21-year-olds that were looking to get the job. He's even pointing out they are phone native, not computer native. So they're pretty much computer illiterate, is what he's saying. Swipe, tap, scroll, but a keyboard and a spreadsheet, foreign. And he also goes on to say that schools stopped teaching typing. Did they really? Somebody else down here is saying they don't teach typing anymore. That might be part of the problem. And that's what I was saying.
Yeah, they don't teach typing anymore. I know that emphatically. However, my daughters learned it in middle school. The school that they were at in middle school, they did teach keyboarding. Actually, I taught it through the elementary into middle school. So that was a good thing. But as a rule, I don't think they teach it at the high school now. I need to ask her, but I'm pretty sure they don't. She doesn't need it, but they don't teach it now. So
What is being taught to the kids? And parents get me up to speed. Do y'all even know? Lord have mercy. Anyway,
know
this
them.
comment
They
here
know them
says, what is
pronouns,
your
though.
Excel experience? I'm 18. In what possible situation would I be using Excel for anything? And this comment replied saying, don't you use it in school for making graphs or
The
stats?
stats.
They
Yeah.
said, no, we don't use it in school at all. I'm 22 and never used it. And so
I can still think of tons of reasons why you would use Excel. I mean, I'm making reasons to use it, but there's a reason that you would use it. That's just wild that you never had to use it. Like make a table. I mean, take these numbers, get the median, the mode, and put them in a table, like or PowerPoint. Like I just can't imagine that. I remember making my students do this, and I had second graders, and they would have to do that. It was extremely rudimentary, extremely clunky, but I don't think it's crazy one that they don't know how to use it, because I do understand that part. But dog, man, like really? And like I said before, like I think this is going to be a matter of people wanting to take ownership of themselves and say, hey, I wasn't taught this. Let me go and teach myself this, because there are people that are asking for this. And in order for me to be competitive and to get this career that I want to get on, I might need to learn this. It might be beneficial. Let's go.
One is echoing my exact thoughts, saying, now it's understandable. So we are demanding skills you had no chance to learn. We need to do some work to understand what is the typical skill set of Gen Z. That is a good question. What is the typical skill set that Gen Z has? They go on to say, HR should do better to match the job descriptions to current skill sets. I don't know about that. HR is going to be looking out for the company. HR might need people who know how to use a spreadsheet. You can't always be like, Gen Z don't know how to do that, so we just ain't going to do. Like, if the company needs that, then that's what you need. They either have to figure it out, or they're not. Like I said, they will have to get with it or get lost. But some of their generation, instead of doom scrolling and wasting time, when they see they're lacking in certain areas, are going to take the time to get on the free resources like YouTube and get on Excel and get on Google Docs and things like that, and try to figure out the keystrokes and the shortcuts. Somebody's going to do it because they want it more. And that's just what it is. And if they aren't willing to do that, then it just might not be the field for them. It just might not be for them. And that is okay. But the standard and the bar just can't get lowered for certain roles that require certain things just because certain people don't know how to use that. You're just not going to get hired. You're just not going to get hired. And I think people need to be honest about that. That's why they're being overlooked for the job. Now, and somebody commented here, Microsoft is too expensive to have at home anymore. Everybody uses Google because it's free. You know what? I can totally understand where this person is coming from, because I love me a good old free Google Word document. I got Google Docs and essays from when I was in middle school. No lie. They're still saved under the same name. I could pull it up right now. And this was way before AI, way before all of that. But I tell you what.
Shout out to floppy disk. The problem is I don't have a floppy disk drive. So I have mine too. Mine are just on floppy disk, and I don't have a floppy drive. I don't even want to know what I was writing. Let's go.
What? Spell check was my best friend. Spell check was my best friend. That's if you know, you know. Others saying, you think people are using Excel in their free time for fun? Hey, if they want a job in certain areas that need people who know how to use Excel, if they want that job, maybe. Here's a good example. A lot of people want to know how to edit. They want to know how to make videos. When are they taking the time to learn how to edit these videos and to figure it out? If they want to be a content creator, for example, right? When are they doing it? It's in their free time. A lot of people in this generation, especially Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're looking at Streamer University. They're like, I want to be Kai Cenat. I want to be Duke Dennis. That's what they're saying. You don't think they're going to have to, in their spare time, figure out how to use the software to even set up the stream, understand the devices, understand the tech? That is part of a lot of jobs, is understanding the software and the tech that come along with the type of job you want to have. If you don't want to do it in your free time and you're waiting on somebody to pay you first, to teach you, show you the ropes and everything, you might get left. There is somebody doing it in their free time that just off of the fact that they want it, that don't need to be told, to be showed. They are showing up with skills that maybe nobody taught them in school. And they're going to outdo the person who doesn't, the one who doesn't want to do it in their free time. They are. But to be fair, if Gen Alpha and Gen Z is saying, hey, we were taught to use Google because Microsoft, maybe they don't use that in schools anymore. Okay, do you know how to do that? If the answer is, oh, I don't know, you got to sell it. You got to be able to sell yourself for these positions. You know, you can't just go in there like, I don't know how to do none of that. None of it. None of the stuff you need me to know how to do for this job. I don't know how to do it. They just didn't teach us. What they supposed to do with that? Honestly. Now, this lady right here is reacting to the man's video that we just seen, talking about the computer literacy issue that's allegedly going on with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And this is what she had to say.
This is a real thing, and I can attest to it.
Can I ask just quickly, why don't the younger generation know how to use technology?
So I was a guest teacher at a school, and mind you, this school is like a private school, but not like Christian private, like money private. I was teaching a film course there. Now, if you know anything about film, one, you need a computer, but two, you need to know file systems. Like you need to know where you're saving your project and how to access that project again. When I tell you there are high schoolers who don't know how to open a folder, I said, hey, open that folder on your desktop. They said, how do I open this? Double click. And they don't know how to double click either.
Now, it's worse than I thought. It's actually worse than I thought. Allegedly, can't confirm nor deny because I'm not in them folks' school because I couldn't do teaching. What? Do y'all see what's going on? Anyway, hearing that, you know, I'm kind of drawn back. I'm kind of like, you actually don't know how to click with the mouse. This is giving my mom. No shade. But
Shout out to moms.
I expect certain people in certain industries, like if you never had to work with a computer your whole life and you get a computer, look, I was fighting for my life, trying to explain how to set up a laptop to my mother. She's Gen X. Now, a lot of them, they ain't never used no computer. And it's like you talking a whole nother language. So I can only imagine how it feels as, like, I'm assuming she's probably a millennial, telling someone of the younger generation, click the file to open it up. Because in our heads, we're thinking, well, we were taught this stuff. From what I'm gathering here, it seems like they're not being taught these things.
Right.
They're not. Like, I don't expect them to hop off the porch at 18 knowing how to do these things if they were never taught. But at some point, like when they hit about 22, 23, if they still don't know it and there's reoccurring theme that they're seeing of, hey, like I keep getting asked about this in my industry, at some point, the accountability and the lack of not knowing comes from them, right? But at the same time, it's almost unbelievable to hear that this is what is going on. And I honestly feel bad for us millennials because then it's like you're trying to explain the stuff to your parents. Some of them might be a little bit more tech savvy than others. And then you're also going to have to explain these sort of things to your kids and or your grandkids. My. We just got our hands full. Give us a break.
And they don't know how to double click either. They have no idea just the basic functions of a computer outside of YouTube and watching videos.
That's what I said. They know all about, you know how to get on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. They got it down pat. But the functions of a computer is where we draw on the line.
That's where the skills come in.
No, we know how to use it for fun. And to be fair, can we really blame them? Because they were indoctrinized to use it for fun, not for computing purposes, which is what a computer is. You are the driver of the car. It is merely the vehicle doing exactly what you told it to do. But if you don't know how to use the thing, what good is that? That's like getting in a car and you don't know how to drive and you just sitting there like, it's a nice car. Like, I come get in this car.
What's up with that background?
In front of me in the fence. I just get in this car and stare across the street because I'm not using it to go nowhere. I'm not using it to do nothing. I'm not telling it what to do by driving the car. I'm just sitting in the car, looking through the window like, what a day. Like, that is what's really going on. It's really blowing my mind that perhaps the idea that is supposed to be used in this way may not even be clicking.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you.
To Gen Z or Gen Alpha. It's probably not even clicking because they weren't taught that's what it was for. And now they're filling out these job applications and stuff like that. And they're like, wait a minute, man, It's really sad. They honestly was set up. They were set up to fail. If that is what is in fact going on in the schools, they were set up to fail.
And I blame this on a lot of things. One, there's no computer class anymore. We used to believe that like computer class was great for kids who didn't have access to a computer at home.
Right,
But if you
right.
had access to a computer at home, you would know how to use it, right?
Right.
No. Another thing that's wrong is most of these kids have Chromebooks. And while Chromebooks can be great and they are a cheap option, that is not a good computer if you're trying to do business things on there. Chromebooks are essential for Chrome, for scouring the internet. But a computer is more than a tool just to use the internet. Computer is a way to make things, to save things, to interact with things, to have servers. And then I would argue that the third thing is that they've never had to integrate it into their everyday life. None of them have ever had to type a paper and print it out without using Google. Most people don't have Word anymore. Most people don't have Excel. They have Google Sheets, and they have Google Docs, and they do everything on Google. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Especially because it's free.
Right.
But when you get into a higher echelon of life, aka, I don't know, post grad, after high school, you need to know how to use a computer, all types of operating systems, all types of different things like file sharing and PDFs, and how to transfer something from a JPEG to a PNG. You need to know that. So yes, kids know how to watch YouTube on a laptop. Kids know how to airdrop things on a laptop, but to utilize a laptop or a computer for work, they have no idea because they've never been taught.
I couldn't agree more. She was on point. I give her props. Like, she articulated that so good. And I'm
Very well,
glad y'all
very
in
well.
the comments are saying the same thing.
Yeah,
Y'all
by
are
the way.
saying it's because they were given tablets and only use apps. And that's
That's a good point.
exactly what I was saying. And I wanted to highlight this comment here. It says, I am stunned by so many things younger people have not been taught or not taught well, like cursive, handwriting, reading an analog
Double
clock,
facts.
counting money backwards,
All the facts.
writing a check, mailing
Super facts.
a letter,
Double
phone
facts.
numbers, basic map reading, or even finding a book in the library. Now, I'm not going to act stunned that a lot of people in a particular generation don't know how to do that if they were never taught in that generation how to do that. I do think they should have been taught how to do that.
I must say, like, looking at this list she has here, I remember when they stopped doing the Dewey Decimal System in the library. I remember being a school teacher and the media specialist. When they do that, they give you that day where your class comes in and he or she will explain how kids are going to be using the library, if you're coming by yourself, unsupervised, so on and so forth, and how to find books. I remember that. And it was super easy. And I remember as they started phasing that out, because they don't teach it anymore. They don't spend the time teaching kids how to find things using the Dewey Decimal. I think our phones have undercut us as it relates to knowing phone numbers. Of course, map reading has gone out the window. Counting back money, to me, I think that's just a laziness issue. Every time I go somewhere, I get the wrong change. Every time. If I go to Zaxby's and get a drink, if I go to the grocery store, wherever, I always get the wrong change. They always read back the change wrong. Except some places like Starbucks, they literally will show you. I'm not saying Starbucks does this, but there are places that the register will show the employee what kind of change to get back, like $2 bills, 3 quarters, a nickel, stuff like that. Like it'll literally show it on the screen for them. What else? Writing a check, they're cooked. They're cooked. Counting back change, where I said that. Reading an analog clock, why would you not want to know how to read a clock? That just seems so interesting to me. Like, why would you not want to read a clock or know how to read it? And of course, cursive. That goes without saying. Okay, let's finish this up. I think, but it's a multi-phase problem. I think, sadly, there's a lot of things that because we had a lot of time in the other generations had a lot of free time to learn these things, and we weren't distracted by our phones and our technology that is our overlords. We're distracting. They distract us right now. Man, Quick Trip, I'm almost guaranteed to get wrong change every time I go to Quick Trip. Every time. It depends on the person that works there, but it's almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed. Almost, man. I mean, Yeah, I can tell you some terrible stories about that. All right, let's go.
Some of these things definitely were, in my opinion, things that, if not taught in school, the parents should have been teaching. First off, the parents are the first teacher. That should be the main teacher. But what ends up happening is you go to school, you get taught mostly everything from the school. And if they didn't teach you it, you just ain't gonna learn. And I truly believe that certain people know that. I'm not gonna say who. Certain people know that if it's not taught in the school, you're not going to teach the kids, because what's going to happen next is you're going to say, with what time? I work full time. I work 2 jobs, blah, blah. And understandable, because a lot of people are doing a lot to try to get by. But that's my point. So if they don't teach the kids certain things, and you may or may not be able to teach your children, who is teaching the children? Do the children know what they should be taught? Like, if nobody told them what cursive is, do they know what cursive is? No. So we can't then look at them and say, why don't you know how to write in cursive? They looking at you like, what's cursive? They actually don't know what you're talking about. It's foreign to them. It was never brought up. It was never even a conversation that was had. You see what I mean? And I actually feel bad. I feel bad because this is the future. All right, Gen Alpha and Gen Z are the future. And we see what's going on. That's scary. It is. It's scary. Not knowing how to mail a letter, you ain't gonna do too well in business. And I know a lot of stuff is digital, but in the event that you might need to do something like that, you might want to be a business owner. You might want to, understand how to ship stuff out. You can't do that if you don't know how to mail a letter. That's like the most basic part. And then don't have social anxiety. Oh my, don't even get me on that. A lot of the newer generation has social anxiety and they don't want to ask for help. They're not used to interacting with people. So when they don't know how to do something, they sometimes have an interesting approach about how they're trying to get help. And I also blame social media for that, because lack of human interaction is also something that might be contributing to that issue. But it's just a whole list of, because this didn't happen, this is what's happening. This comment here says, I worked for a large state school. Last year's freshmen struggled to save a Word document and upload it for an assignment. We received screenshots from some because they couldn't figure it out. Whew, what the heck? Now, this lady, interestingly enough, posted this video in 2024, in February 2024, actually. And she was talking about Gen Z and Gen Alpha and the computer illiteracy issue that she was seeing back then. Ma'am, you were ahead of your time, first off, let me say. But let's see what she has to say.
I just learned something that suddenly makes the behavior of every single person on this app under 20 make way more sense. Now, before any of y'all come for me, I want to preface this by saying that this is not a diss against you. I'm 24. I'm not trying to be like, kids these days. I get it. The system has severely failed you. I'm 100% in a very similar boat. I empathize with y'all, okay? Normally, I would say that even though the educational system has failed you, it is still your duty as a person to, learn outside of that, to continue to learn as you grow, to just, become a better person in general.
I'm glad she said that. Exactly. Because at some point, you can't be 40 talking about, I don't know how to read a clock. It's too time consuming. Just, you see what I mean? At some point, you either wanted to do it or you didn't.
That's how growth and personal development work. As a person to, learn outside of that, to continue to learn as you grow, to just, become a better person in general. That's how growth and personal development works. However, I've realized that apparently y'all just were never given the tools, that they were never thought to be given to you to do this. Please feel free to tell me how true or untrue this is in the comments. I'm genuinely interested and curious. I was reading this post about a teacher who does a lot of online tutoring for kids in like middle school to high school or whatever, right? And she was saying that absolutely all of them are completely computer illiterate. They only understand how things work through apps. Like, she was explaining how these kids didn't understand the differences between an upload or a download, or a desktop and a laptop computer. Or when she was trying to tell a girl to, click on a screen share icon, she actually physically picked up the mouse and tried to move it, like the early days of the internet. But it's so unfathomable. Like, it's been around for so long. We all know to slide it, and when she was trying to explain to her, the girl was just so confused and ended up using the touchpad because it was a laptop, because it was similar to a phone. And a bunch of teachers were sounding off saying that, a lot of kids don't even know how to type properly. A lot of them don't know how to search or use search engines.
But they know their pronouns, though.
The internet. They only know how to use apps, which makes so much sense, but is also so.
But they know their pronouns, though. I'm saying, like, this is one of those issues where we're not teaching the things that are necessary for people to be better. But again, because I didn't realize it was this bad. I really didn't. So shout out to the best live channel on the internet. I didn't realize it was this bad. But let's let her finish up. Let's go.
Depressing because it explains one of the most annoying phenomena on this app, and it just makes me deeply sad. Like, for example, I write a lot and I use TikTok to promote my writing, but on so many of the videos where I promote this, a lot of people don't understand that it's a fanfic that I'm writing, or even though I'll have like several different places where I say the name of the fic, who wrote it, where you can find it, that sort of thing, the comment section will still be flooded with people asking where they can read it or where the link is, but I can't post direct links in TikTok.
You can say it in a video, you can post the link, you can do all of those things. And no lie, because I've done it, somebody will still ask you, what is the something? They're not trolling. I truly feel we live in a world where some people actually aren't going to do the thing you're trying to get them to do unless you specifically spoon feed it to them specifically. They don't want what you were trying to give to the group or to the audience. They want you to specifically tell them the thing that they want to know, even if you've already told them in a video, in a link, in a newsletter. They don't want it that way. All of the resources, because those are resources. That's what I think of when I hear those things. I hear a resource. They don't want your resource. They want you to reply to them specifically to tell them what they need or want. What can get hectic is thousands of people doing that with the idea that even though you did it already and gave them what they needed, it's not enough. And that's scary. I think when many of us were taught how to use a computer, we were taught how to use it to be resourceful or to understand.
All right, let's be resourceful. Make sure y'all like this video, share it. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell notification, as Amethyst said right here. Jump into the best live chat on the internet. Consider becoming a member. Look, I got to tell you to do it. I got to tell you to do it. Then we got to do it. This is cooking. I thought Simone, shout out to Social Simone. The link is down in the description of this video. She did a great job. This is an excellent, excellent video. Shout out to her.
How we use it in order to achieve whatever our goal is, whether that might be making a budget, a spreadsheet, etc., learning software on it to help us in whatever the thing is. But a lot of people don't even think when somebody is speaking that is a resource, but it is. That should be your first source. Is just paying attention to see, to hear, did you even hear the information that you might be asking about? They don't do that. Now, I can totally understand, hey, maybe I might not have heard it, but what I'm saying is on a larger scale, that is more common than not. You can literally say, I'm putting the link to blah, 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 blah down here. And somebody will say, what is the something? Where can I get it? And there is a lack of digital literacy and media literacy for sure.
And I always find that extremely annoying. It's so frustrating because it's like, it's in the comments, it's in the title of the video, it is in the description, it is in the playlist, it is in my bio, it is in so many places. Use your gut brain. But those skills to use the brain with were never taught to you.
That's the real problem. You weren't forced, like many people were not forced to be resourceful, to gather all the information and then say, what is missing? Something's missing here. What else do I need in order?
So I'm gonna take a little side note. I was talking to my wife today about the fact that certain people, if a true investigative journalist doesn't just take one piece of information and create their narrative. They ask questions about it. They might look a little bit deeper. They might look a little bit more, ask more questions about what they found before they come, and so that they can have at least a full understanding of what's going on. An activist or somebody who has an agenda, they just take one thing and all the facts have to match that agenda that they want to get to. They want to get to El Segundo. All the facts, all of the bits of information they find are going to lead them to El Segundo. But a true investigator, a true journalist is going to ask questions, and maybe they're not going to end up in El Segundo. They might end up somewhere else, but they're going to go where the facts lead them, not make the facts fit their agenda that you're trying to get to. And to me, I think investigative journalists, those persons who really ask questions, are in fact more inquisitive and more resourceful than persons who are just, I know where I want to get to, and all your facts are going to get me there. But let me finish this up. Shout out to Social Simone. The link is down in the description. Thank you so much. Let's go.
Order to do whatever it is I'm trying to do, or what was left out that now I must question because I'm out of resources. I have hit a wall. That's not happening now. It's almost like they're just blurting out the first thing, like, well, and it's interesting to see the changes. I don't know. Does it have a lot to do with the instant gratification you can get online? Just everything is so fast nowadays. But you actually had to research or go to a library back in the day if you really wanted to know some information. But that's why I see a computer and I see Google and I have YouTube as a resource. Like, we have all these things, and I'm always just like, man, this stuff is just laid out. Like, any question that you really want to know, you don't have to find somebody who knows this stuff anymore that you personally know to go talk to them, because that's what we had to do. We had to know somebody who knew about a lot of these things. But now with the internet, you're able to reach people that you probably would never speak to, and you're able to get a lot of information from these people. And that's why I love using the internet as a resource, as somebody who grew up when the first computers came about and when we had dial-up and AOL and all of that. Like, if
Shout out to
you know,
dial-up.
it's really been a great tool to learn. But I don't think, unfortunately, many people saw it that way. They seen it more like, oh, this is something I can play games on. And if that's what you want to do, that's your choice. But so much stuff. And not only,
but that's how it was sold to them too, though. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not going to hold this most recent, I don't know, Alpha, Zeta, whatever this generation is. I don't hold them accountable for it because we sold it to them as a car that all you're going to do is make right turns. That's all you're going to do. Just get in the car and just turn right. That's it. Just keep going right. That's all you can do. Well, I can't be surprised and mad at them necessarily when they're 20 years old and they say, all I know how to do is make right turns. Well, we never told them anything else. Now, I'm going to say this, though. If you're 28, you should have done some personal development yourself and realize, like, I don't have these skill sets. Just like if you look down and you see your gut and you can't see your feet, who are you going to blame? Yourself. Like, you can't do that. You cannot do that. And at some point, you're going to stop saying, okay, they didn't teach me this in high school. Well, sir, you're 60 years old. It don't matter what they didn't teach you in high school. You're 40 years out of there. Can you please tell me why you don't know this? So I do think we need to be, there's a level of self-accountability that still needs to be at play. And dare I say, even self-ability to seek to do better. So I understand, this younger generation, the little ones, maybe just coming out of high school, they're in high school, they don't know better because that's how we sold it to them. But them 28-year-olds, you're already out of college, sir, ma'am, you need to know how to do this. All right, let's get done. Shout out to Simone.
Say this to encourage y'all. There's so many useful ways to utilize all these new resources, and it's just crazy.
Of course, so many people would be asking for the link because they don't understand how to search for it themselves. And on top of that, critical thinking, reading comprehension, and just thought skills have been going down significantly over the past decade or so. Like, for example, in Canada, which is where I'm from, 49% of adults have a reading level that is under high school level. In the United States, 54% of adults have a reading level under that of a grade 6.
And this is why I don't like to argue with people. It's that I hear that statistic all the time that most people don't comprehend at a 6th grade reading level. And I'm just like, and these be the people that a lot of people be arguing with in the comments. Like, now, no offense to them, but I was in honors English, in high school. So hearing that and just understanding, going through your day, over half of the adults might meet that statistic. It just at least makes you think twice. Like, it just makes you think twice. Like, you know what? If we even have a conversation, where is it really going to go? Yeah, honestly.
So that means that people can read, they can understand things, but they can't fully comprehend it. They can't connect things. They can't make these connections. They can't search for deeper meanings. They can't use basic skills.
That's why I keep stuff surface level with a lot of people. I don't even like to talk to many people. The conversation get too deep. It's like the lights is on, but nobody's home. It's like you just see them clock out. They gone. Like, we lost one. Dang, lost another one. Y'all tell me, does that happen to you? Then also, a lot of people don't have good conversational skills, not good at going deeper, if that makes sense.
Because they're not being taught. I don't blame the teachers for this, by the way. There's so much out there, the system in and of itself. This is a whole bigger problem. I'm just noticing the outcome of it. So even if you did recognize that, okay, I'm not as good with the internet as
I'm finding, and maybe I'm just judging, I'm finding this young lady to be super interesting. One, because of her language. Two, because of her hair dye. Three, because of that flag behind her. And four, her hand movements. Ma'am, I think you're more a part of the problem than you really identify. Sure, you might be able to say there's a problem, but ma'am, I think you might be more of the problem than you actually realize. I'm just saying. I know I might have lost somebody there for that one, but I think she's more of the problem than she actually is willing to accept. Okay, let's get done.
And maybe should be, especially in regard to safety, but that's a whole other conversation. You wouldn't have the skills or even the idea of how to get better at doing that because it's not taught to you or even suggested. And like, it's great that now they're teaching coding to kindergartners, but they're also not teaching them what it means to actually search for something, how you know something is or isn't safe to download.
But even more than that, ma'am, and this is the thing, I don't think you have to teach coding to kindergartners. I really don't think you need to do that. I do think you need to teach critical thinking skills to kindergartners and how to take information and synthesize it and give it back in a way that you understand it and that your audience can comprehend and find value in it. There is that. That is it. And it's just interesting that, and again, as a former school teacher, I can tell you a lot of stuff that we teach is nonsense. And there's a great deal of time wasted doing things that are not beneficial for the long game. That, again, if you teach, if critical thinking became the tour de force from kindergarten through 6th grade, you'd have, high school would be a breeze, because we're teaching kids how to think, not what to think. And sadly, a lot of this is we've been teaching them what to think. And now they don't know how to think. So therefore, when you say something like click the link down in the description, they don't understand it. They really don't. They really don't. And they're not resourceful. I think that's another point. There's a lot of takeaways from this. So let me know comment down below what was a takeaway from this video that you had. But one of them is that these kids are not resourceful. Now, of course, I do think that saying, hey, I know how to use the internet to find my answer, that's one thing. But a lot of them don't know how to use the internet properly. You can't just say, oh, go to XYZ and this person will do it for you. They don't know how to get there. All they know how to do is go to the App Store or the Play Store, download the app and play. That's it. They don't know how to do some of the things that we're telling them to do. So even the just do, I don't think the OJDs, that's not going to work because they don't know how to do that part. So let's finish up though. This is shout out to Simone, Social Simone, by the way. Let's go.
So interesting that they're teaching coding because there's such a high demand for it in like the career force, but they're not teaching things like critical understanding of literacy and being able to pick out like motivation and propaganda, as well as actual internet safety.
And also, and let me add this to the bucket. With social media, a lot of people don't understand when they're being sold something, even being sold a dream. People love to sell dreams online. They love to sell a dream. And a lot of people can't see it. They can't see agendas that people might have. They actually can't see it. You think your favorite influencer actually has 5,000 products that are, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. You really think that? Every day a new product that you must try. That ain't suspicious. Start asking questions and say, you know what? You like a lot of stuff. Like, didn't even pop up. Didn't think it was suspicious that Starbucks sells a new cup allegedly what seems like almost every 2 weeks. That's not suspicious at all. And all of them are must-haves and extremely viral on TikTok.
So a lot of you all know that I am a Starbucks stan. I don't go nearly as much as I used to, but I'm a Starbucks stan. And the other day, there was an event at my local Starbucks. And it's a joke, and I make no qualms about it. The baristas at Starbucks know my number. They know where I live. Yeah, they do. So the manager called me from the store, and we were just talking about the event that happened at their location. And I just kind of put out a little joke about, I said, well, make sure you get me one of those bear cups. And she knows I don't care about those. But we laughed about it. And she was telling me how Starbucks corporate knows good and well, giving each Starbucks location 10 cups was going to cause chaos. They knew that. And they didn't care. And I joked about it. And now I cannot confirm that that this is true. So I'm not going to put my store manager on blast. But I said, and you know, there's a warehouse full of them. And she goes, mm-hmm. I just thought that was hilarious because Starbucks knows what they're doing and everybody knows what they're doing. They all know it's a game. It's a game. It's a bit. And yes, they know that by putting out this little bear cup or putting out this little shamrock cup or what was it? The red Stanley a couple years ago. They know that it's going to cause chaos and they know that they're not giving people enough of them. 10 of them per store. She said we were done. She said literally they had sold them all out in 3 minutes. So all these people lined up outside, 10 of the little bear cups. And I'll do a video. If y'all want, I'll do the video about the bear cup too. But let me get over here because Chief Executive Second Born. All right, here we go.
Nothing suspicious about it. Not suspicious that they run out of products of these quote unquote viral things that everybody must have. And then, oh my gosh, we're going to see videos of people being mad they didn't get it. Maybe to get more people to say, you know what, next time I'm going to be there because everybody likes this thing. FOMO. You don't think some of this stuff is suspicious? Great business. Great for business. But personally, you as a person, when you go to bed at night, you don't lay down and think, that was interesting. Why did that happen? It's the not questioning stuff ever that's dangerous. Not questioning the motives, never doing it.
It's like critical understanding of literacy and being able to pick out like motivation and propaganda as well as action.
Okay, I can't get past this. I'm not going to let this slide. Maybe I'm being judgmental. Y'all let me know in the chat right now. Maybe I'm being judgmental. Y'all are welcome to tell me I'm being judgmental. I'm going to continue to do so, but feel free to let me know. The fact that this woman's hair is dyed and that distracting flag behind her talking about agendas and not thinking critically I'm not going to let that slide. I'm not going to let that slide. Ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're not going to, maybe I'm being judgmental. Let me stop, Jason. Maybe it's you, Jason. Just stop.
Internet safety to stop you from, getting in trouble, from getting hurt, or from buying things you don't need. Those are skills that are suddenly miraculously not taught in schools anymore. And with those complete and utter lack of skills, suddenly all the videos about how people didn't think that fruit off of trees was edible or thought that Mount Everest was in the United States. That makes a lot more sense. It's depressing.
I just can't do it, man. I cannot do it. I cannot take finger wagging from somebody. And maybe she's just doing a hair color because of things. Maybe the hair color is just the thing. She's giving me a liberal woman. I've never seen a conservative with a flag like that behind them. Ma'am, you are the problem. You are more part of the problem than you realize. Maybe that's part of the problem is that you don't realize that you are the problem. Like, it's funny because I guarantee you, if I could find this woman's TikTok, I bet you she's going to tell me her pronouns. She's going to tell me all of her stances that she has, but she's over here finger wagging because somebody doesn't know that where Mount Everest is located, or they don't know that fruit on trees is edible. Ma'am. Okay, get done with this, Jason. We're almost finished. Let's go.
But it makes sense.
And speaking of being resourceful, this is from Instructure.com. And it states here, based on our national workforce and higher education survey conducted in partnership with the Harris Poll, this report offers trends and insights into workforce readiness, digital literacy, and generational change shaping the future of learning and work. Well, I thought this was very interesting because this is exactly what we're talking about here. And it goes on to state in this article, a workforce at a crossroads. Many workers feel unprepared for the pace of change. The State of Learning and Readiness report from Infrastructure finds that 70% of U.S. workers don't feel ready to succeed as technology, AI, and shifting career paths reshape the world of work. But it goes on to give them some credit by saying, yet the desire to grow has never been stronger and people are eager to learn, upskill, and adapt, and that the readiness gap is both challenging and an opportunity. And it goes on to show that the four major pillars are digital literacy and technology agility, continuous skills development, adaptability and career mobility, and growth mindset and future ready thinking. And going on to talk about being resourceful, I actually read this, y'all. I do this a lot in my videos. These are resources, and it comes with understanding how to use the computer, the internet, and things like that. And I only say that to encourage you all, but it actually goes on to state here that this survey was conducted online within the United States by the Harris Poll on behalf of infrastructure from April 23rd to the 25th in 2025. So this is relatively recent. This is a recent poll. Very interesting. But I want to know what y'all think about all this down below. Do you think that we have a digital literacy or digital illiteracy issue with Gen Alpha and or Gen Z? Do you think they really don't know how to use computers? Do you think they're only good at apps? Teachers, please comment down below because I'm so interested to know what y'all think. And parents, do your kids know how to use Google Suites at all? Microsoft? Any of that stuff? An Excel spreadsheet? And after seeing this video, are y'all prepared to teach them or are y'all lost too? But I gotta know because this is interesting. We gotta start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.
All right. Shout out to, hey, what are we doing there? Shout out to Social Simone. I love Social Simone. Somebody said right here, this young lady is very well spoken and based. I think you had shared some of her content before. Absolutely. I love Social Simone. Very good content, extremely talented content creator. I'm going to push back slightly though, slightly push back. I do think that I don't think there's a technology literacy problem. I think there is a desire for self-improvement problem in our society. A lot of people don't really want to do better. Now, there could be 1,000 reasons. Well, I'm not going to be able to buy a house like my mom and dad, or I'm never going to be able to get this job, so I might as well never try to do better. Okay, there's some reality there. There's some struggle there. There's some truth there. I got you. But if everybody in like President Firstborn's cohort, she's going into her sophomore year of college, if everybody in that sophomore class had a desire to push forward, and no matter what, that means going to office hours, speaking with your professor, getting additional help, going to be a help moving forward, and so on and so forth like that, the junior class would be better because it's going to push the junior class and it's going to make a better way for the freshman class behind it. I don't think that, again, if you have more than 3 kids, you probably have seen this too. When one of your kids really tries to do better, it does impact their siblings, whether they're over them, younger them, alongside them. If one of your kids really says, look, I'm going to get about it, it changes things. Now, here at the house, y'all know, if you follow me on my second channel, I've been working out more on my second channel, and I've been giving updates on that. Well, now Chief Executive Secondborn has started joining me in working out. She has her little workout plan. She doesn't like working out with me, but she'll tell me like, okay, I'm going down to the gym and I'm going to do this, that, and the third. I'll say, you might want to do this. You might want to do that. She'll make adjustments and then she'll let me know how it goes. Okay, that's cool. Well, guess what? Now my wife wants to start working out. So again, like all it takes is this one person to start in those close quarters of a family or whatnot, really start desiring to do better, and other people will do it themselves. President Firstborn has always been desirous of staying healthy and being fit. So while she's at school, she walks a whole bunch. So she has fought off the freshman 15. Like my wife said, she told me she thinks President Firstborn has actually lost weight and slimmed down actually in school, instead of coming back with the freshman 15. And no, we didn't starve her. So don't y'all try that thing with that meal plan, even though they got a crazy meal plan at school. But no, she came back fitter. And she was saying, my wife was saying like, yeah, her legs look more toned because she walks all the time. And she walks quite a bit. But so you see my point. I think the problem primarily is that we don't have a desire to do better as an overall people. We're not desirous to say, hey, we can do better than this. Let us go and let's make adjustments and changes and movements to get to do better, whatever it might be, whether it be in our reading comprehension, whether it be in our analytics, whether it be in our critical thinking, whatever it is, we're not doing that. And so I think that just keeps compounding year upon year upon year. And we get kids coming out of high school, coming out of college, and they don't know, again, life is a struggle. I don't think life now is any more difficult for the class of 26 than it was for the class of 92. I don't think the world is primarily that much more difficult. we have new problems, but I don't think the world is more difficult. And feel free to let me know. But I don't think that that's it. I think what the problem is, however, is our ability to look at problems and say, I can attack that. I can deal with that. I think that the class of 1992 was much more prepared to deal with problems and look at a problem and figure it out versus the class of 26. I don't think they were ready for it. I just don't think they had it. They were given the skills to take apart a problem and deal with it. And that's really it. I don't think there's any other way around it. So I don't think I don't think they're mentally slow. I don't think they're anything. They just haven't been taught. And that is our fault. That's our faults. So all the generation that are wagging their fingers, we need to wag them fingers at us as well, because we didn't teach them. We gave them a car and said, all you got to do is make right turns. We gave them that tablet. We gave them that Chromebook and said, just go and find Netflix, go find Nickelodeon Kids, go to your little apps and stay there. And didn't teach them all the other things that they could do with it. I mean, even their own phones, like we don't have to go that far. Like literally their phones are more powerful than any computer I had when I was in high school. And they don't know how to use them. They don't know how to use them for the power that they possess. Sure, they can go online, and sure, they know how to find that app store. They can go to the Play Store and play games. But after that, can they build a game? Can they build a game? Can they write a book that somebody would want to buy? Can they do that? No. All right. Good people. What we got up in here? I appreciate y'all. This was an impromptu live stream. I ran across Social Simone's video on it. And I said, I want to talk about this because if you came in late, I was approached by a company that wanted to sponsor my live streams. And they actually do that. They actually teach. They have courses that you can pick to teach you these various and sundry things that you might not know, like Word or Excel or how to do calligraphy or fill in the blank. And it just so happened that I got it yesterday. And I was like, that's so odd, because I've gotten sponsorship requests before, not many, but I got some before. And I don't know this. I'm like, why did I even click on this email? I looked at it, I'm like, it's kind of interesting. And I just left it alone. But now I'm going to reach out to them and say, hey, let's have a conversation. Because in light of this, like maybe that might be something to be beneficial. And then I ran across this video today. I'm like, I think this was all serendipitous. I think it was all for a purpose. So anyway, thank y'all so much for tapping in today. This was an impromptu live stream. I thank all of y'all. Whoa, what? Why don't do it? You need a hug? Don't hug you? All right, give me a hug, Diane. You know, I got love for you. Okay, now I got to see what you got to say. Okay, well, I will make sure I talk to you before anything happens like that. But no matter what, I hope that people are desirous to push forward and just find a way to do better on their own. I'm sorry, I'm reading this right here. And it's hard to see because I don't have my glasses on. Yes, I do have a second. Somebody said I didn't know you had a second channel. I do have a second channel. All I do is just update on my 3 goals that I'm doing. Is this it right here? Oh no, this is Social Simone. Let me pull my other one up. I don't even remember the name. I mean, I know the name of it, crying out loud. The daily vlog update. Where is it? Ba-da-boom, ba-ba-boom. All right, here you go, right here. All right. So yesterday I was talking about, there's my the Jay Witt vlog. There it is. Yesterday I was talking about I just got a new treadmill down in the basement and was talking about that. It's not an ad company. Okay, I will make sure. Okay. I mean, it's one that y'all have heard of, so I'll reach out to Diane. We'll talk offline because I don't want to promote it if I'm not clear on it. So I'm not going to do that. Diane, we'll talk about it offline. But I think y'all will like it. I have never heard anything bad about them, but I will move judiciously there. So anyway, thank y'all so much, everybody. I appreciate y'all again. I had not planned to do a live stream today. I ran across this and I said, oh, I really want to talk about this. I really think it was helpful. Matter of fact, I know that chief executive second born is taking her mom to buy school supplies. I'm like, oh, how serendipitous is that? They're out buying school supplies. This is about schooling. And I thought it would be fun to talk with y'all about it. So I want to hear what y'all think about it in the comments below. I'm going to leave this up for a while, but then I might make it just members only, just for the members and stuff like that. What we got? Right. I personally think that reading cursive is necessary. My kids know how to write in cursive. Matter of fact, it's funny. I'm just telling y'all stories now. Now we're just telling stories. So y'all know the chief executive second born works at an ice cream shop here. And yesterday she was so happy. Her boss has allowed her to do a lot of things related to marketing and kind of pushing new products. Like she made a milkshake and she was so over the moon yesterday because she has a little sign on the window about this milkshake it's the milkshake of the month. And she has it on the window and people came in to buy it yesterday. And she was so happy. She was over the moon, right? You could I'm surprised she was able to make it out the door because her head was so big because these people came to buy this milkshake. Because usually her sister comes and gets it. So her sister will come up there and buy the milkshake pretty much every day that she's working. But the other day, some people came in and one of her coworkers said that people were buying them on the days that she wasn't there. She was over the moon, right? So her boss allowed her, there's like, those A-frame signs, little A-frame signs. There's a chalkboard A-frame sign at the store. And she wanted to use it to promote the ice cream that they have, come in and get a scoop, little cute little phrases and stuff like that. Our ice cream can beat the heat, or cute little phrases. So she was so happy to do that thing. The sign had was a little broken. She's like, Dad, I need some wood glue. I gave her the wood glue out of the it's what's in the milkshake? It's we call it the Marietta Mocha milkshake. It's basically vanilla and a little bit of espresso. I believe it is. I don't want to mess it up. So I'll have to ask her to tell me exactly what's in it. But anyway, let me finish the story up. So she got the little A-frame, it needed a little bit of glue in it. And she was taking care of the sign, right? And she put her little slogan on the sign. So I came up yesterday to get my wife a milkshake, right? So I came to get my wife a milkshake. And I said, hey, Chief Executive Second Born, that sign looks good. I'm like, all the lines are straight and all the letters are in the proper form. And it was good. I was like, who wrote? I said, who wrote that sign? And she said, I did. I said, well, girl, the handwriting is fantastic. You know who taught me how to write, don't you? Because I was her second grade teacher and I taught her handwriting. And I was like, okay, well, I need a double scoop then for that. I said, because my teacher is all right. Her handwriting is phenomenal. So to the point, I don't even know where I was going with that story. I have no idea where that story was going. If you know where that story is going, please let me know. You said something about cursive. And I was just saying that it's important. It's just a good skill to have. I do believe that, again, I know emphatically those fine motor skills, you don't get those skills by tapping on a screen or swiping. It is using of that pencil and moving that pencil around, whether it be in cursive or in print, helps you with those fine motor skills. And it's a lost art. It's a lost art. And so I do think that it's necessary to do that. And yeah, sure, you're probably never going to write a check, but you still need to know how to sign a check. You still need to know how to read in cursive. Most of the time, because I do this now that I've retired from teaching, I don't write even a third of as much as I used to. Then sometimes I look at my handwriting like, what the world's wrong with my handwriting? I need to go back and start over again. But like if I write a check, I write a check to my lawn guy. It's in cursive and it's good cursive. Let me, pat myself on the back. It's good cursive, but I'm like, if he can't read cursive, he in cash money trouble, or the bank teller can't read cursive, they in trouble. But I write it in cursive. So it's just something to think about. And this is shout out to Tampo right here. This is the point. I keep teaching myself skills. I think we should desire to just keep getting better, self-improvement. We should not say, okay, I'm out of high school. I don't read books anymore. Y'all know I read a book a week. And if you follow me on my other channel, we talk about the book a week as well. Or you follow me on Goodreads, we talk about the book a week. But like, we shouldn't say like, well, I'm out of high school. I'm out of college. I don't read anymore. What? Why not? Why are you proud of that? Like, or because what is it? I'm not running because ain't nobody chasing me. Well, that's the problem. That's the problem. You do need to run. You do need to take care of yourself. Like, we should be desirous to learn new skills, or at least fine tune the skills that we have. Why not? I'm about to go jump rope today. I'm about to go down there and jump rope and get at it. Me and Chief Executive, every day we add five minutes. So we start over again on Sunday. So today is going to be 10 minutes. You got to jump for 10 minutes. And tomorrow will be 15, 20, 25. And hopefully each time you do that, you'll get better. And then I'm going to do kettlebells after that. So that's going to be it. That's how we're going to get it. So anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. I don't know where the rest of the story is gone, but I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Thank you so much for all that. Thank you to the moderators, as well as everybody who hopped into the best live chat on the internet. Always good to see y'all. Thank you so much. I will be back in the morning, Lord willing, for the Monday morning meeting. I'll give you a heads up. I'm supposed to have a guest on Tuesday. Most of you all have been asking for this team up. So I just want to, I'm sorry. It's on Wednesday night. I'll make sure you all know ahead of time. But y'all have been asking for this team up. Thank y'all for talking Natalie up. Thank y'all for talking Jay up. We had a great time this week. Well, I got another one coming up this coming up week. So I'll keep you posted. You got to stay tuned. I'll let y'all know tomorrow. But thank y'all so much for all of that. What do you say here? Jay Witt, have you ever seen anything about Book Talk? There are people on there called Proper Spelling and Grammar A+. I don't know why that's making me laugh. It's got me tears. No, I've never heard of Book Talk. But I will say this. People, instead of, we have, as a society, we've always we're starting now to just aim to the lowest denominator instead of requiring people and encouraging people to rise up to the standard. Now, there are going to be people who will never be able to. There are going to be people who don't have the capacity and ability. Those are not the people we're talking about. We're talking about the people that can. We require them to step it up. Kind of like what they were talking about with the knowing Excel. Okay, fine. You didn't get taught it, but if you want a job here, you're going to need to know it. That's just the end of the day. I never heard this. It's just funny that I totally believe that that's real. And whatever. Then y'all just keep shooting for the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator. I'll just keep trying to raise the denominator up. Oh, Chrissy. I see what you're doing there. You trying to figure it out. Okay, y'all, let me get out of here. It has been a great day. Hopefully you had a beautiful Lord's Day today as well. I'm planning on, like I said, I'm about to go out here and jump and then get these kettlebells moving in the air. And we're supposed to watch a movie tonight. Doing all this family stuff because President Firstborn is going to be leaving the week after next. She's leaving soon. So we're doing all this family hanging out stuff. So anyway, y'all have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a great week. I'll see you all tomorrow, Lord willing, in the morning for the Monday morning meetup, as well as to kind of lay out the plans for the week. Thank y'all so much for everybody. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you so much for what y'all do. Thank you so much to everybody who supports the channel by hitting that like button and all that kind of good YouTube jazz. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. I'm glad you like it. So thank you so much for doing that. Tip your waiters on the way out the door. Drop those green hearts on the way out. Let's get ready to do this. Have a fantastic week. Until next time, my good people, grace and peace. See you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.